All right, so today's webinar is using the Photos app in Windows 10. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to come out of the PowerPoint. Most of today's demonstration is going to be live. So here's what happened. A lot of people were kind of shocked when they got Windows 10 because they went to the Start menu, like I'm going to go there, and they saw an icon that's marked Photos, and they clicked on that, and you got something like this open up, and they just had no idea what to do. So I'm going to try to show you what to do with the Windows 10 app in about 30 minutes. So we're going to just take a look at this particular window when it first opens. A few things you'll notice. Down in the lower left-hand corner, you'll see it has my name, and that's because I'm logged in with an account, and if I click on that, it gives me the account. I'm logged in with my Microsoft account, john@4kcc.com. And that means that the application can communicate with other things that I have under that account, like OneDrive, etc., if I wanted it to. Now, under where it has my name, it has settings. And if you click on that, it gives you some basic settings. And the few of the things that are important, you should look at all of these, but like the first thing, automatically enhance my photos. You can have that on and it will automatically make adjustments to your photos. If you don't like that, you can slide that off and then it won't adjust them. It'll wait for you to make adjustments. If you have duplicates, like a lot of times people say, oh, I got the same photo in 5 different places on my computer. If you have this marked to linked duplicates, it will only show one picture, even though they're in different folders, etc. Then on the tile, that means on the Start menu, this tile right here, that's what it's referring to, and it's like that's called a live tile. And so what do you want to show up there? Recent photos or a single photo? And if you put it on a single photo, you then can choose the photo that you want there. Now I like to have mine on a recent photo and then they keep rolling, back and forth. Sources, where you want the pictures to be drawn from. Normally, if you're logged in with a Microsoft account like I am, it would draw from OneDrive. But I turned that off from OneDrive. You see it says show my cloud only content from OneDrive, and I turned that off because I have some pictures there from different websites that are proprietary that I did not want to show on the screen today because they're for individual companies and not supposed to be shared with the general public. So I turned that off. So the only pictures that are showing up right now are pictures that I put in the picture folder, which is only a couple. And I just did that for demonstration purposes. And there's also a place you can send feedback. You can click on that and give Microsoft your feedback. Some things you like about the app or things you don't like about the app, whatever the situation might be. So that's what the settings is down at the bottom. Now, if we get out of settings and go back to the collection, now let's take a look at some other icons. Right in the upper left-hand corner, you see 3 lines that says menu if you put your mouse on it. If you click that, you simply hide the menu over on the left so that it's just icons. If I click on it again, it brings it back out. Then you can choose by collection, which is generally just by when the pictures were taken. Like you notice, this picture is January 2016. And so there's 2 pictures under January, and then it goes back to April 2015, and then it goes back to November 2014. And then finally it goes back to July 2013. So those are collections of what was taken during that particular month. And again, normally, if I included OneDrive in this, you would be looking at hundreds of pictures, not just these 4 or 5 pictures that I have here. Also on the left, there's albums, and that will show you different albums that you have of pictures. And then there's folders, and you can look at folders, like I have the picture folder, etc. So most of the time, you're probably going to use the collection. Now, that's pretty much everything on the left-hand side. Let's look up here in the upper right-hand corner. You see two arrows, rounded circles with arrows. That's a refresh. So if you think that maybe you took a photo that's not showing yet, you could press that and it would refresh and go look and see if there's any new photos. Normally when you open this application, it refreshes immediately to see if there's any new pictures. Okay? Now, the next icon is select. If I click on that, the pictures get a little square in the upper right-hand corner. It might be a little hard to see, but there they are. If I click on a picture, like let me click on this bottom picture. Now I've selected that, and that changed some of the icons up here. It put a trash can. I could delete just that picture. I could copy the picture by clicking on the icon that looks like two sheets of paper. Or I could share the picture by clicking on share. Now, here's where this is going to get confusing for a few people. First of all, you see that I could share it on Evernote. All right, now you may not have Evernote on your machine, so that would not appear there. Next, it says I can share it by mail, and that's the one that's going to confuse a lot of people. It's very simple. If you go on the web to get your email, all right, like Gmail or Yahoo Mail, etc., you cannot share it that way. This means it's going to try to share it by the built-in mail application in Windows 10. All right, now I don't have that set up. I don't use it. All right, I don't want it to use it. I don't need to use it, so I don't use it. So that means there's no account here. So even though it tells me I can share by mail, I cannot do it because I never set up the mail application in Windows 10. It tells me I can do it by messaging, Sketch Touch, again, you may not have that. Twitter, I could share by Twitter because I do have Twitter on this machine, and I could connect right to that. But I just want you to understand that sometimes when it says share, you can't really share it the way that it comes up because you don't make use of that option like mail. And again, if you click on your share button, you may find other programs listed there besides what you see here. And that's fine, okay, but that's how you would do it. Now, there's also three dots. If you click on those just put the words directly under the icon in case you forget what they are. Now I'm going to cancel that for now because I want to get back to just my photos, and here's what I want to do. I want to go up to this third icon, and that's called import. So I could click on that, and if I had connected a camera or something like that, it would show there. Now, as you can see, I did not do that. So it says connect the device that you want to import from and make sure it's turned on and unlocked. So I could hook up my iPhone, I could hook up a camera, and I could import into the photo app whatever pictures are there. So that's what that means. But I don't have anything plugged in right now, so I can't do it. Now, the next thing we want to look at is what you can do to a photo after you take it, what you can find out about the photo. So I'm going to go down to this bottom photo, and I'm going to double click it. And when I do that, we're now in edit mode. Okay, that I can now do different things to it. So if I look up here, again, there's a share icon the same as before. Now I could create a slideshow and it would go through the pictures in my folder. I have a little kind of wand that's called Enhance. Then I have a pencil, and this is the complete edit mode. But I could just, like, suppose I wanted to rotate this picture. Maybe I took it and it's showing on its side or something. I can click that and it will rotate the picture. And if I keep clicking it, it will keep rotating it. Okay, there's also a trash can, so I could trash it. Then there's the three dots, and with that, I could tell the Windows 10 to open this picture in some other program. Like I have Adobe Photoshop. I might want to do more with this than I can do with the built-in program, so I would tell it to open it with Adobe Photoshop. I could copy it, I could print it, which we're going to come back to in a minute. I could set as. If I click on that, it means I could make this my lock screen, I could make it my background on the computer, or I could set it as the photo tile picture. Again, the photo tile, when I go to the start menu where it shows photo app, I could make just that specific picture there instead of having to go through all the other photos. Now, print, we're going to go back to print for a minute. When you click on this to print, this box comes up. Now, I will explain some of the problems that customers have been having. Where it says printer, you always have to look at that first because you want to make sure it's going to go to the correct printer. And you have multiple printers on your computer, even if you only have one physical printer. So what you do is you go and click on this, and this will give you a drop-down window. Now, as you can see here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 printers that we could print to. All right, so you have to make sure you're going to the correct one. One of those printers is print as a PDF. Now, if you choose that one, you actually are not printing like something you can look at and hold in your hands. You're going to print it as a document. And when I click print, here's what happens. It will bring up a folder and it will ask me, where do I want to save it? And when that folder comes up, which there it is, I have to say where I want to save it and I have to give it a name. So it's printing, but it's printing to a document as an Adobe PDF. All right, we don't want to do that today. We want to actually print to one of our printers. And one of our printers is the Xerox Color Cube 8580 with the -7. All right, so the very first thing you have to do is you have to make sure that you're sending it to the right printer. Do not go down here and click print until you've looked and made sure it's going to the correct printer. If you're a snowbird or you go back and forth from up north and down here and you have one printer up here, up there, and one printer down here, you better make sure that you're printing to the right printer. Now, generally speaking, it will remember the last printer you printed to, and that's usually what comes up. But that is not, set in concrete. Something else could make it go to the wrong printer. So always look at that first. Now it asks you how many copies. This says 1. If I hit the plus sign, I can keep going up as many as I want. If I hit the negative, I can go back. Or I could just click in there and put in what I want. So maybe I want 101 copies. Okay, I could do that. But in this case, we're gonna make it 1 copy. Okay. Now, orientation. Do I want it portrait or do I want it landscape? I can choose that. What's my source? Auto select. If you have a printer that has various trays, you could send it to a specific tray. Normally, you let auto select there. What size? Letter, legal, 3.5 or 3 by 5. Should be 4 by 6 here somewhere probably. There's all kinds of envelopes, all kinds of different things that we can send to. Type, automatically select, but if you had labels or something like that, full page, or you could make, like, say, 4 by 6, and then it would print a 4 by 6 photo. All right. So there's different things that you can do there, different adjustments. And again, though, the absolute most important thing on the print page is that you're printing to the correct printer. All right, that's the biggest problem we see. People come in and say, I can't print this picture, and it's because they're trying to print it as a PDF or something like that. Okay, so I'm going to X out of that. And now we want to get to if you want to do some different editing. And that comes back up to the icon at the top, which is the edit. And if I click on that, now you see there's a whole bunch more icons on the left and right side. One of the icons that you would probably use a lot might be a cropping tool. So over here on the right is crop. I'm going to click on that. And you see that it brings up a box with 4 round circles, 1 in each corner. And what I can do is I can make the box bigger. I can make the box smaller. I can pull it in left and right. I can go up and down with it, sideways, whatever I want to do. Now, I move the picture, not the box. The box is actually, except for resizing it, the box is actually stationary. And you move the picture, what you want in there. So I'm going to make this just a little bigger. And now I'm ready to crop it, but nothing is cropped until I come up here and click on the check mark, which stands for apply. So I'm going to click on that now. And now you see that full picture that I had is now reduced to what I cropped it to. Now some of the other icons, again, rotate. Now we had that before, but I could rotate the picture. Just keep clicking it. I could straighten it. Did you ever take a picture that when you see it, it's not square? I could actually fix that. And when I click on that, it brings up this little circle with a 0. And what I can do is I can actually change this by moving this. See, I can turn the picture. So if your picture was taken and it's not square, I can make the picture square by using this. And when I finish that, it's the same thing. I can finish that, and now I could go up here to save, and I could save it that way. Now I'm not going to do it because this picture actually was square, but if it wasn't and you wanted to square it, that's how you do it. Okay, so I hit the undo button, Joyce's favorite button on the computer, and that took me back to the picture. Now, if this were a picture of a person that was looking straight on, we could deal with red eye. We could retouch if we wanted to. And retouch gives us a little circle, and it allows us to do various things on the picture. Now, this particular one, there's not much we can do, but you would have to have a certain picture to see how that works. But just know that you can do a little retouching, not much. This is a very simple app. There's not a lot you can do. On the left-hand side, there are some more icons. I have effects, and if I click on that, I can do different things like selective focus. And that means I could take and move this, and you notice how the umpire is very much in focus. The rest of the picture is sort of out of focus. Again, the apply, I can click on that, and you see what happened there? I took a picture and I emphasized the umpire by focusing on him and letting the rest of the picture go slightly out of focus. Okay, so there's all kinds of stuff you can do, and you should play with that and try that under that. All right, you can also adjust on the left. I can adjust color, and I can change the temperature of the color. Now here's what that means. See, if you look, you see how the grass is getting greener? That's called temperature. And so I made it a little greener. If you say, hey, it's a baseball field and I want it to be greener, I could do that. I could change the tint. I could make it change to more pink, whatever the case might be. Now, tint, you usually change, and see, I can go backwards and make it less. Tint, you usually deal with a person's face. You know, that's almost the best gauge for tint. Saturation, you can click on that. How much color? How deep are the colors? Saturation. Okay, so that's another one. And then you could do a color boost if you wanted to. So if you wanted to boost a particular color, you would take it and you could do that area and boost that color. So there's all kinds of things you can do under color. Now there's light. Okay, you can adjust the brightness, the darkness, the highlights, the shadows. So if I hit bright, and again, I'm just using my mouse and holding down the left button and moving that circle. See how much brighter it's gotten? Too bright. But that's how I could adjust brightness. Maybe your camera didn't take it quite as bright as you would like. I can go to contrast. I can make the contrast deeper, or I can make the contrast less by going backwards. That makes the picture flatter. And again, we can do things with highlights. We can do things with shadows. There's just all kinds of things you can do. Now, you might say, John, can you tell me exactly how to do that? No, here's what you have to do with photography. You have to try them and play with them. You know, photography is very much in the eye of the beholder. So you might look at something and enhance and put contrast in. Someone else might look at that and say, hey, that's too much contrast. So the question always is, who are you doing the pictures for? Yourself or someone else? If you're making adjustments to pictures for yourself, then you don't care whether someone else tells you there's too much contrast. This is the way you like it. So I can't give you specific. I can't give you step one, step two, step three, step four. This is how you enhance a picture. No, you have to try it and play with it. What I'm trying to do right now is simply show you where the tools are located. Now over on the left again, there's another one called filters. And filters are built into so many apps now. For instance, if I wanted to take this picture and make it black and white, there's a black and white filter. All I have to do is click that, and this is now black and white. The other filters do other things. They change, like that one sort of put a shadow around the outsides of the picture. Okay, this one does other things. That one makes it flatter, not so much green. So these are different filters that you can experiment with. And again, it's the same thing. There's no rule. You have to spend a little time, take some pictures, and play with these and see what you like and what you don't like. And here's something to remember. Instagram has a lot of filters built in. I use filters often on Instagram, but let me just say this. One filter may look great on one picture and it might look lousy on a different picture. So you can't say, oh, okay, I'm always, other than black and white, you could say, okay, I'm going to do everything in black and white. You could choose that filter. But for these other filters, you can't say, okay, I'm always going to use the filter that puts the shadow around, because that may not look good on some pictures. And that's what you need to do. So is the icons that appear when you want to edit. Now it's important to remember to you could either save or save a copy. So like if you don't want to mess up the original picture, you should save a copy. That way you have the original picture without any of the changes you made, and you'll have a copy of the one that you made the changes. And that's how you can do it. So you can say save a copy. So that's what I'm doing right now. So if I come out of this and go back to my pictures, now you see here's my original picture, uncropped, untouched, and here is the picture that I cropped and changed with a filter, etc. So it's keeping that. Now we're almost out of time, but there's one other thing I want to show you that's kind of cool in terms of pictures. When you have a picture, you can, if I double click it, if I go to those three dots again, I can go down to something called File Info. And when I click on that, this will tell me over here what the file name is. This was taken Friday, July 26, 2013 at 8:48 p.m. It tells me that the size of the photo is 281.2 KB. It's telling me the dimensions are 1278 by 720. It was shot at 1/60th of a second with an f2, and the ISO was 200. It was taken with a Lumia 920. That's my old Windows phone, not the current Windows phone. Okay, it tells me where it is on the computer. Actually, it's under Users John Pictures. It tells me the source is this. And the location says Round Rock. That's Round Rock, Texas, right outside of Austin. We were there visiting our kids. And if I want to, I can open the map. And when I open the map, it will actually map to the location where the picture was taken. Now, the good thing about that is that, if you've forgotten, like if I saw that picture and said, oh, yeah, we took that when we were, and by the way, here it's asking me, do I want to let Windows Maps access my location and my location history? And I'm going to say yes, okay, because I wanted to locate this picture. It will, the neat thing is that when time passes, like if you had asked me, when did I take this picture in this baseball field, I probably would not remember that it was Friday, July 26th. Okay, and I might have known where it was in Round Rock, but I might not have. So sometimes under the information, you won't actually see Round Rock, you'll see latitude and longitude. And when that happens, there's a great site online that lets you convert latitude and longitude to an actual address. And if you put your stuff in there, it will show you where you were when you took the picture. Now, some pictures, let's see if I can find one here. I'm going to double click on the picture of this Thanksgiving basket. And when I click on File Info, you can see that it gives me the name, the date that I put it in, the size, the dimensions, but notice it doesn't say shot, ISO, device, and no location. That's because this picture was not taken with a device like a camera or a smartphone. Okay? Uh, this picture of the cornucopia was taken, I downloaded it from the internet. So that information is not available. I have no idea what camera or what settings were used to take the picture originally because I found it online and downloaded it. So I just wanted to point that out to you in case you go looking at some of your pictures, which you should, because you should be trying everything that we're doing here. But if you go look at some and you say, hey, wait a minute, there's no latitude or longitude or no location here, it's probably because your computer doesn't know where that happened because it wasn't taken with one of your devices. It was downloaded or you saved it from an email or something like that. So that is pretty much it for the Photos app. There is a lot you can do with it. But you know there it's not it's not going to be Adobe Photoshop. You can't do like I can't put like I couldn't take the umpire out of that picture and put him in another picture, or I couldn't just take him out completely. Other things will allow that to happen. Other programs you can do that with. But this is a nice, simple built-in feature. Windows Photos. You can do a lot to fix your photos if you need to. Okay, but just know that you are limited pretty much with the things that I showed you. So that's it for today on the Microsoft Photos app in Windows 10. I just want you to know you can see on the screen there that the February webinars, I'll be announcing those soon, the subjects and when. And I just want to thank you for attending today. I don't see any questions in the chat, so I'm just going to say have a great afternoon. Thank you.